Hi everyone, I'm Kellie Morrill and I'm here with
Vicki Samoya.
And we are from Tiny Trees in Washington State in America. And we are filming outside at the beautiful sculpture park. We'll give you a quick look at the beautiful scene behind us. This is our classroom. So we have the wonderful fate of having an outdoor preschool here in Seattle at the Olympic Sculpture Park. And obviously there's no kids here and we are not set up. It's after class right now. But we're coming to you live to talk about outdoor preschool and educators and inspiring educators and how to become one. So a little bit about us. I'm Kellie. I'm the executive director here at Tiny Trees Preschool. We are an all outdoor preschool. We serve about 300 children in 12 classrooms across 9 public parks. And by operating in public parks, what that means is that we can make preschool more affordable for children because we don't have the facilities costs that come along with buildings and walls. And at the same time, we get to be outside with kids in a way that is really special and gives them a love of nature as well as preschool academics. So before we get started, I just want to again show you the land and where we are and acknowledge that Tiny Trees was inspired by Northern European forest preschools, but we also have learned a lot from the indigenous wisdom that's been passed down since time immemorial. So we want to acknowledge that we're here on Duwamish land in Seattle. The Duwamish are not yet federally recognized. They're still fighting for recognition. And so we want to give a shout out and thank you for all that we've learned from our indigenous partners and other tribes in Washington that are interconnected that have been handing down indigenous knowledge since time immemorial. And we teach children some of those practices in order to foster a love of nature and to have access to an education that's very different than what you would normally find indoors. So we're committed to equity and access, and we are committed to teaching children how to fall in love with the land and be good stewards of the land and work towards restoration, while also having a joyful, muddy childhood and great preschool experience. So that's a little bit about who we are, and like I said, I'm here with Vicki, and I'm going to let Vicki talk a little bit. If you guys have questions, you can put them in the comments, and we'll read them as we go, and we'll try to answer your questions as we can. So Vicki, do you want to talk a little bit about your classroom and how you came to be an outdoor educator?
Sure. So we're here on a site which is also up in partnership with the Seattle Art Museum. So on the park itself, we have 6 sculptures that were made specifically to be on this land, and those sculptures were made to actually be an expression of the land that's here. So having that connection to art and nature at the same time in the environment that we teach in is just an amazing way to open that door for the children. We're here every day and we have access to different sites that we can go, so we can choose depending on the weather where we want to spend our day, which is an amazing gift to have. My background I come from a dance background which lasted 25 years as an educator and performer, and I felt that there was a very strong need to reconnect, not only for myself but for what I was seeing around me and the children needing to have more connection to nature in their education, and also to foster a sense of their emotional responsibility to each other and to the land, to know that they're a part of what will happen on this planet in our next generations to come.
That's awesome. And I don't know how much I can show you while we're here, but if you look, I'm trying to see, you can see the eagle sculpture over here. That's a place where children come and play. And then also down the way, Vicki, do you know what those are called?
Yes, that's called waves.
No, that's, if you can see it.
Oh,
I don't know
if they can see, it's called wake. Actually, this was brought in from a different location on the East Coast. But when they commissioned to bring it in and looked at the space, they really saw how it reflected the shape and the feeling of the water. And so the children love to take that journey through and around that when they're moving their bodies, to bring in the idea of fish and what is it like to be in the water and all of that, and to open up the door for them, for their imaginations to connect more with what they see and feel around them in nature.
That's so cool. So since we don't have kids here, can you tell us a little bit about your outdoor preschool classroom, what happens on a typical day, and just in general, what inspires you about this work with kids?
Yeah, what's really amazing is that they come from all different backgrounds and all different abilities. We come with open hearts for them so that we meet them where they're at. So they always feel seen, they always feel heard, they always feel that their voice is important. They get to make a lot of decisions about where they would like to spend their time. We have different areas that they can decide what speaks to them, what kind of project they would like to make, and even what materials they would like to use, because we offer a very open classroom. But having them come with so much of their creativity just helps us to really instill in them that they are important and they are seen and heard, regardless of what anybody says, that they have their own agency and their own voices, and that's the most important thing in their educational experience.
Cool, thank you. So we're here on a beautiful day. One of the questions that people ask a lot that I'll just cover really quickly in case you're wondering is, what do you do when it rains? And so just to show you a little bit, we do have some covered space here at Olympic Sculpture Park. This is a more urban developed park than many of our classrooms. So you can see there's a lot of people walking by, there's dogs on leashes. There's tons of places that kids can go and play, but we layer up. The kids have gear. They have rain gear. They have rain boots. On a rainy day, they still are out. So you'll see kids out on a classroom hike. They might go down to the water. They might go over. There is what's it called? The vibranium?
The vivarium.
The vivarium.
It's really a very big terrarium. It actually has a large tree that was felled, and it's decomposing there in the vivarium space. So when we bring them there, we talk very much about what that process is like, and they're absolutely fascinated.
Cool. So Vicki, will you talk a little bit about just teachers in general, since we don't have a lot of your colleagues here? How do you see teachers leading the way, and what do you think about teachers being part of a revolution?
Oh, teachers are the revolution because we are leading from our hearts and a very deep desire to feel that the minds, the creativeness, and the ability for children to know that they have the agency to make change and to work together to tackle the hardest problems that we're seeing in our society now, that they will have the ability to come together and know they can work together to make change. And I really feel the teachers that I work with work so hard every day to help children work together, listen to each other, see each other, and feel from their hearts how to connect with love. And that's the most inspiring thing that we can bring.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I totally agree. One of the things that I have always been really passionate about is expanding access for kids. And when we look, at least in the United States educational system, the way that colonialism and racism has kept children from opportunity and not given children an education that really works for them, I feel like we're right at a cusp where educators are starting to talk about this and coming together. And I feel like Tiny Trees is working really hard to better understand our communities and to take a listening stance, and as educators to truly lead the way as listeners and as learners, and to unlearn some of the conditioning that we have about what children and families need, and really get plugged into, what does the next generation, what does our future really need, and how to provide education in a way that moves us forward towards a more compassionate society. We also have a anti-bias curriculum that we're working on here, so we really are teaching children from a young age about justice and about liberation and about taking action. And that could be, for 3-year-olds, that could be as small as, speaking out against pollution, or it can be standing up for themselves. It can be learning about different kinds of identities and how their friends identify, and differences in cultures and families. So I feel like we're at a time where educators can really come together and learn about that. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the comments. We are hoping, if you're watching afterwards, if you want to drop comments in, we'll continue to keep listening and keep talking and keep joining in the conversation. And just thanks for engaging with us. We're excited to be part of this series and learning from all the other inspiring educators. So thanks for joining us, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments, and have a great day.